Hello, everyone. Today I'd like to talk about air writing and word walls as strategies that may be used to teach spelling. Let's begin. Let's start with some simple definitions. Air writing is basically the physical process of writing a letter or a word in the air while the learner says the letter or spells the word. There are different kinds of air writing, and that includes isolated air writing, connected air writing, and finally overlapped air writing. Moving on to word walls, it's basically a collection of meaningful words displayed on a wall or a similar surface in the classroom, intended to be used as an interactive tool for various reading and writing activities. Let's compare the two strategies, starting with target students and grade level appropriate for. For word walls, it may be used with students of all abilities, but specifically starting from elementary school first graders. And that's because sound production ability, phonemic awareness, phonological awareness, and knowledge are necessary. Air writing may be started with very young learners from preschool, from 4-year-old upwards. Moving on to materials needed, for a traditional word wall, space in the classroom for the words to be put up on the word wall. However, it may be adapted for virtual learning. For air writing, we need a printout of the word or letter to be practiced, but it may also be adapted for virtual learning. Regarding teacher preparation, little to moderate preparation is needed for both. For word walls, the task may be divided between the teacher and the students. When it is used. So word walls may be used during or after reading. Air writing may be used before or after reading, but again, consider the age group of the students using the activity. Regarding setting, both may be used with a whole class setting, small groups, and or individuals. So now let's talk about advantages and strengths. For air writing, first, it helps the learner recognize and form uppercase and lowercase letters, as well as the spelling of simple words, CVC or CVCE. Next, it also strengthens the imaging skills of students, as well as the motor memory of the letter form. For very young learners, it strengthens their arm and shoulder muscles, and this helps prepare them for traditional writing. While practicing and learning writing skills, the students may have fun, and as long as it's done in a very engaging activity. Um, and because it's a simple activity, it also promotes inclusivity and various learning styles. It may be used with new technology to help students with learning disabilities such as dyslexia. And I teach in a Japanese eikaiwa or an English conversation school. So air writing is somewhat similar to kusho, that is air writing in Japanese, which native speakers of Japanese use to strengthen their kanji knowledge. Moving on to disadvantages and weaknesses. So air writing, in the case of EFL, ESL learners, the instructions may have to be given in the native language. I identify this as a disadvantage because if the teacher is not familiar or fluent in the native language, then another person is needed in the classroom. Next, the teacher has to monitor and make sure that the learner is air writing the letter or word correctly, not just mindlessly writing some lines in the air. In the case of a big class, implementing and monitoring the learners as they do the activity may be a challenge. Meanwhile, for very young learners, keeping their attention may also be a challenge if the activity is done for long periods of time. Similar to this, if done frequently, the learner may lose interest in it. And finally, if used with technology, it would require more resources from the school. So now let's move on to word walls, starting again with advantages and strengths. First, it's a quick visual reference for important words, and this aids students in seeing the connection between patterns and relationships in words. In terms of learning vocabulary, it's a good way for students to learn vocabulary related to classroom reading or even various content areas. Next, it provides immediate support during reading and writing activities. It also helps build sight word recognition and can help students remember the word, and hopefully, this will eventually help them read with automaticity. Compared to air writing, word walls are student driven because the students, with support from the teacher, can identify what words should be put up on the word wall. It can also be used with a variety of activities that do not necessarily need a teacher. As for disadvantages and weaknesses, in case of big classes, students may not be actively reading. So some of them may just be mouthing words or saying words without really reading or thinking about the word meaning. Next, it doesn't help the learners develop phonemic sensitivity nor decoding and coding because they're only copying spellings in terms of writing activities. For very young learners, the content of the word wall may be overwhelming. Next, sound production ability is necessary in order to locate and or read a word. Otherwise, the word wall would just be a display in the classroom. Next, some classrooms may not have the space nor resources for a word wall, so the teacher has to think of an alternative in case they want to do a word wall. In the case of a classroom shared by different classes or levels, it may be also be a challenge to find space for the word wall. Now let's talk about similarities and differences. So first, both strategies touch on spelling as well as other domains of literacy, including oral language, phonological awareness, alphabet knowledge, word recognition, fluency, and handwriting. Both processes involve some cognitive aspect in order for the learner to remember the letter of the word. They also develop the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic systems of the learner. Moving on, both strategies also prepare the learner for writing or can help with writing practice. They can also be implemented using a variety of activities to keep the interest of the learner. Both strategies can be used in a face-to-face classroom setup or a virtual classroom setup. And finally, they may also be used with new technology or available software. As for differences, while both strategies may help the learner develop their spelling, the prerequisite skills from the learner differs. As mentioned, for word walls, phonemic awareness, phonological awareness, alphabet knowledge are helpful. And next, target learners may be different, so the teacher must consider the age and the abilities of the learners before implementing either or both strategies in the classroom. Moving on, the air writing activity needs the supervision of the teacher. On the other hand, word wall activities can be done by the learners without the assistance of the teacher. In terms of resources needed, air writing doesn't require as much time, materials, physical space compared to word walls. Okay, let's do a quick run through of steps to implement word walls. First, the students and the teacher discuss what words should be included on the word wall. Next, have the words written in large black letters on good paper. Alternatively, the words may be printed out. The teacher talks to the class about how to effectively use the word wall, what activities can be played, or how to use the word wall as a reference. Update the word wall about 5 words per week. Next, air writing. First, put up the word or letter to be practiced up on the board. Make sure everyone can see the word or letter. Alternatively, write it on the board. Next, model it for the class. Stand up straight, keep your writing arm straight. Make sure the student sees your writing fingers. Face the same direction as the children. Next, have the class do it. For a small group, have 1 or 2 students do the activity, others can watch. Bigger groups, form 3 to 4 lines and monitor the students as they do the activity. Repeat as needed. Do the activity for about 5 to 10 minutes. So now let's watch a simple demonstration of air writing. Alright, hello everyone. So today let's practice air writing. And our word for today is, what is it? That's right, cup. Up, cup. Okay, so first watch me. So 2 fingers, cup, up, cup. Alright, so now let's let's try it together. Okay, so two fingers out. Okay, stretch out your arms. Ready? Together. Cup. Up. Cup. All right, nice. Hello, everyone. So today let's try air writing. And today let's practice air writing to the letter A. And what sounds does it make? That's right, ah, ah. All right, so first watch me. So two fingers, straighten your arms, and let's do it. So one, two, one, two. Okay, so let's try it together. So two fingers out, straighten your arms. Ready? So let's do it together. One, two, one, two. All right, so that's a simple demonstration of air writing. So, moving on to analysis and conclusions, first, air writing and word wall are strategies that may help learners in developing their spelling skills. However, several considerations need to be considered should either of the skills be implemented in the classroom. In addition to the age and abilities of the learners, other factors such as physical space, available resources need to be considered. Between the two, the former seems to be air writing seems to be a better strategy in helping the learner develop spelling skills. Air writing helps the learner develop letter recognition, and it also helps the learner develop phonemic awareness. Other benefits include strengthening the learners' motor skills to prepare them for writing on paper. Insights and recommendations. First, air writing is a good way to start a young learner's journey towards developing spelling skills. It may be used to prepare the young learner to be more familiar with the letter name and sound. Next, while doing air writing, other skills may also be targeted. The teacher can use the learner's knowledge of air writing to vary the level of difficulty of the activity, letter only, digraphs, and so on. In the case of an eikaiwa, air writing may be incorporated in the lesson as one activity to help develop the literacy skills of the learner. Air writing may be used as a strategy to prepare students to write on paper. Since Japanese learners also use a similar technique to learn kanji, air writing seems like a way to formally introduce kusho or air writing to young learners. Finally, I would also like to know the experience of teachers in an EFL ESL setting regarding their use of air writing in the classroom. Furthermore, I'm curious to know the experience of EFL ESL teachers with learners who use non alphabet languages such as Chinese, Hangul, or Thai. And these are my references. So thank you very much for taking time to watch this presentation. Have a nice day. Thank you.